Hi there, my name is Lindsey Canaley. I am owner of Refresh Yoga Center in Old Town Alexandria, Virginia. I am a military spouse, and in honor of the International Day of Yoga, I am putting together some tips and a sequence for restorative yoga. If you're not familiar, restorative yoga is essentially just nice, relaxing poses with lots of propping. You do not necessarily need to invest in any, expensive yoga bolsters. I'm going to show you what I have, which are all the things, and give recommendations on what you can use instead if you don't have those lying around. So first thing you definitely are going to want to consider getting is, if you're going to do one, this is going to be really your biggest investment. This is a round bolster. Now this one happens to be have buckwheat in it. If you are crafty, you could probably make something like this yourself, and you can fill it with buckwheat, or cat pock is another thing that you can fill it with. A lot of the ones that you'll buy on the cheaper end tend to be really firm, which you can unzip it and pull filling out just to make it a little bit softer, but this I happen to like. You can also use a pregnancy pillow. It's about the same shape, and it would do the same thing. I have another one of these, which is skinnier. You can accomplish this by rolling up a blanket or a towel. I have a yoga blanket, which is just a blanket, and it is used primarily for yoga, but there's nothing magical about this. You could just use a regular blanket. And then blocks. These are pretty cheap. You can pick these up for, $5 or $6 online, in stores. I prefer the foam for stuff like this. And then if you happen to come across cork, it's much sturdier. That's more for more advanced asanas and more stability poses, which isn't essentially what you need here. 2 to 3 is going to be great. If you do not have these, no problem. You could probably set up a lot of these shapes with a little creativity, some books. You'll see. You're not laying directly on them, so it doesn't really matter. This is just really for your foundation. Finally, this is one of my favorite things. This is a Ravi blanket. It is a weighted tulle. Weighted blankets are like the new thing now, so I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy one of these. I mean, I love this so much, but also my life is yoga. But you could use a weighted blanket and it would do the same thing. All right, so the first pose I'm going to talk you through is Queen's pose, which of course. One thing I do want to note, I am going to let you know which poses are appropriate for pregnancy. So if you're expecting, I'll be giving modifications. If not, just pointers. Helpful. Okay, so for Queen's pose, I'm actually going to take 3 of these foam blocks, and I'm going to set the first one up on the tallest setting. The second one on the second tallest, I'm going to put it right in front. And the third, which is far away, I'm going to lay down in front of it like this. So it's creating a ramp shape. I'm going to take my big daddy right here, and I'm going to lay it on top. Just make sure it's nice and stable. The next thing I'm going to grab is my either rolled blanket or little noodle, and I'm going to lay down, I'm going to sit in directly in front of my bolster. I'm going to take this underneath my knees, so I got a little support here. If you have a weighted blanket handy, it's nice to have it, just by your, within reach, and you're going to lay back. Make sure that your spine is fully supported. At this point, if you've got a weighted blanket or one of these little Ravi things, or sandbags would work too, go ahead and just lay it on your torso across the belly. And then here's my most important thing. You're going to take your hands, palms face up, and you're going to find just a gentle V. It doesn't have to be out here. Just find a nice, comfortable position here. Close the eyes. If you've got a eye pillow, it's a great opportunity to use it here. Try and spend 6 to 8 minutes. I know, so indulgent. in this shape. What we're doing is it's just a nice reset of the nervous system. You're getting a gentle stretch through the front of the chest while supporting the entire spine. This is safe for pregnancy, although I would probably forego the use of a sandbag or a weighted blanket across the belly. Nothing, you're not going to hurt baby, but it's probably just not going to be comfortable. You don't need to feel any additional weight there. This is more for grounding. Yeah. So go ahead and spend some time there. Then when you're done, if you've got a weight on you of some kind, slide it off, and then you're going to roll to one side and use your arms to sit back up. Now, for our second shape, we're going to use the same setup, but we're going to turn around. So one thing I recommend, you can Google and look at all the different restorative yoga shapes. When you're creating your own sequence for your home practice, try and alternate between the opening of the chest and then this next pose, which is the opposite of the spine. So a little bit more flexion of the spine. So I'm going to turn around. You technically only need the big boy and the blocks, but if you want to have a rolled up blanket handy, it may be helpful. So I'm actually going to kind of straddle this, and I'm going to sit back. And for me, my knees are a little tight, so I'm going to actually put my little boy in between, and you can kind of figure out what's comfortable. And then I'm going to walk my hands forward. So essentially, I'm taking a supported child's pose, and I'm going to drop one ear down onto the bolster. Your hands wherever is comfortable. For some people, they like to take the arms back in child's pose. Actually, that feels really nice. What I recommend is 3 to 4 minutes per side. So at the halfway point, I'm going to turn my head the other way. So I get a nice even stretch through both sides of the neck. After I spent my allotted time here, drawing the hands in, using the hands to press yourself up. Have a seat. Okay. I have 3 more shapes for you. The first one, you're going to go ahead and disassemble. From now on, we're using actually a really minimal. We go from using the most to using the least. So you're going to need big boy and little noodle guy, or some variation of those. And if you've ever been pregnant before, you probably are familiar with this pose. It's how I sleep. So you're going to take your big boy and grab your little guy. You're going to go onto one side, so if you'd like, you can start on your left. Noodle is going to go between the knees, but I want you to bring that top knee all the way across. And then you're just going to kind of hug. You can get your arm underneath, whatever's most comfortable. What we're looking for is a nice gentle stretch through this side. So just really make sure that top knee comes across, maybe finding a 90-degree angle here. And again, just like the last one, try and spend 3 or 4 minutes per side. If you're expecting this will be your side, when you flip to the other side, you'll need to elevate a little bit because you're not really supposed to spend a ton of time on your right side. When you're ready to get out of it, use the hands, press yourself up, move this out of the way. All right, one more heart opener. This one you're going to need 2 blankets or a blanket and little noodle guy. So I would take this to, kind of like this shape. There's no science behind it. You don't have to worry about screwing this up. You're going to take one of the short ends and you're going to roll it. And I recommend, rolling it 1 or 2 times. So it's about like this. You'll know when you lay down if it's too much. So this is going to go basically across where my bra strap is. You're going to lay this down, unroll a little bit, on the ground of your mat, under the knees. So go ahead and set yourself up and then lay back. I'm a little bit too far away. There we go. So this goes across your bra strap, essentially. Then you're going to take the arms and you're going to find goalpost arms. This is a nice gentle opening of the chest. This, unfortunately, is not appropriate if you're expecting. So go ahead and skip this one. And spend maybe 6 to 8 minutes here as well. Again, another great pose to use a eye pillow. After your 6 to 8 minutes are up, by the way, this is called bubbling brook, you're going to roll to one side and press yourself up. And I've got one more pose for you. This pose is amazing and it is for everybody. You just need, technically you don't need anything, but I like this with Big Daddy. So I'm going to put Big Daddy up against my closet doors. Now, you can do this when you're pregnant. It is a little awkward getting in and out, but nobody's watching. It's fine. This is legs up the wall. This is a really great closing pose. The pose we started with is a great closing pose as well, but since we started with it, we're going to do legs up the wall for the last one. So, the best way to get in or out of this is you're going to bring one hip up against the wall next to Big Daddy. Then you're going to roll back. Hips are going to come up onto the bolster, and that's where, if you are expecting, you really do need that lift to the hips. It's going to help take a lot of pressure off the uterus. And then relax. Now, something you can do, it's really helpful that, and you may already be here as I tell you this, is to take a strap or a belt, and you're going to belt around your shins. What that does is, that's going to help take any engagement of the inner thighs, just turning them off. That way you don't have to worry about keeping the legs, in any particular position. From here, your arms can come to T's, cactus, whatever feels good in the body. You're welcome to take any variation. If you've got wall space, you can take the legs wide, get a nice stretch of the inner thighs. You can take Baddha Konasana, which is where you bring the soles of the feet together. It's also another stretch of the inner thighs. But the goal here is to spend at least a couple of minutes with the legs straight up. If you happen to be expecting, this is a great pose for helping with any water retention and swelling of the feet and ankles. And then after, your 6 to 8 minutes, again, you're going to roll to one side and use the arms to press yourself up. Now, the great thing about restorative yoga is you can't overdo it. You can do it every day. You could do it before bed, establishing a bedtime routine. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it in the morning just because it's more of a cooling practice and it's going to downregulate. And unless you wake up and need something to bring you down, that's not me. It's probably more of an evening practice after the kids are in bed. Again, before you go to sleep. This is also a really nice alternative to a nightly glass of wine. Just taking a few minutes to yourself. This is going to sound super obvious, duh. This is something that you'll want to do when you really do have some privacy, because let me tell you, kids want nothing more than to jump on you when you're in Queen's Pose because it looks amazing. And play. So if you are able to get 20 minutes to yourself, do one or two of those poses. If you want to get a full hour, which is amazing and indulgent, and if you can do it, girl, do it. Just make sure the kids are in bed or being appropriately supervised by an adult that knows to run interference for you, which, you know what I mean. Anyways, thank you for taking a few minutes to practice with me. Happy International Day of Yoga. Namaste.